Hello, and welcome back to yet another video. This is the third episode in a Naruto Uzumaki story in which a few little changes might have a significant impact. Knowledge provided early in Naruto's career converted him from a hopeless loser to a powerful and skilled shinobi. Historical differences that have long ago passed have resulted in a totally different consequence than we imagined. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. To begin, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party started. The next morning Naruto woke up at 7 a.m. rather than 5 a.m. Kakashi had told him to wake up at. Hopping out of bed he stretched himself out, making sure that his body was in working order after Anko beat the crap out of him last night. Sighing, he made a clone to go and make breakfast while he went to take a shower. Naruto rinsed himself off, turning off the water and stepped out of the shower. He grabbed a towel and dried himself off when his reflection caught his eye. Looking at the mirror, Naruto frowned and thought. He wasn't sure if his eyes were seeing things, but he looked a little more muscular than he had last week. I can't get seeable results from just this week, can I? He wondered as he looked over at his back, arms and chest. Even before he started really working towards getting stronger, he had always done a decent amount of exercise, so there should be no serious change in his body's physique. Though, he had recently started eating healthier, so maybe that had something to do with it. That and maybe the Kyuubi had some hand in fixing his body now that it had the necessary nutrients to actually increase his physical growth. What Naruto did not know was that it was in fact the Kyuubi's yokai that was increasing his growth rate. Because he had been unable to get a decent meal from anywhere except Ikuruku's, and their food was not healthy in the least, nearly half of the yokai circulating through the seal and into his body went into keeping his body as healthy as possible with the little amount of nutrients it had. Now that he was eating a decent mix of carbs, proteins and fats, the Kyuubi's yokai had more to work with, thus allowing for it to increase his body's strength and physical attributes more easily. Eventually the blonde just shrugged it off as seeing things in the mirror and went into his bedroom room and got dressed. Naruto walked into the kitchen as he finished tying on his headband. He sat down at his table as his clone served him breakfast, grumbling about lazy-ass originals before dispelling. Grabbing a fork, Naruto began to eat scrambled eggs with a side of bacon, toast and orange juice. Just about the only thing he could make that didn't taste like crap at the moment. As he did, he thought about how the test would go. Anko didn't give me any information on what Kakashi's test was. But she did warn me that he was smart and would probably try and trick us in some way. I'll just have to be prepared for anything. He stood up as he finished his breakfast, placing his plate in the sink. He looked over at the clock and saw that it was 7:30. Deciding that he should go to the training ground now, Naruto walked out of the door, locking it before jumping to the rooftops. He arrived at Training Ground 7 to see his two teammates already there. Sasuke was leaning against a tree, his face etched in a scowl as he did his usual brooding. Sakura was sitting a little distance away from Sasuke, looking like she wanted to talk to the raven-haired boy, but was not sure what to say. "Morning, you two," Naruto greeted, causing the two other Jonin to turn their heads. "Naruto baka. Why are you so late?" Sakura yelled as she stood up, glaring at him. Naruto blinked and tilted his head to the side. "I'm not late." Sakura's left eye twitched. "Not late? You Sakura," Naruto said, holding up a hand, stopping the girl from talking. "Do you see our sensei anywhere?" The girl blinked in confusion, wondering what that had to do with anything. "No," Sakura said slowly before she scowled. "But what has that got to do with you being late?" Naruto sighed. "And they called him the dead last. Our sensei is not here, therefore I am not late. Remember what I told you yesterday? Kakashi is always 3 hours late to everything barring A rank and above missions or direct orders from the Hokage. That means we technically still have at least 15 minutes before he shows up. Now, if our sensei is not here, how can I be late?" "Well, Sakura looked at him for a moment, unsure of herself. It didn't last as she scowled at him for making her look bad in front of her Sasuke-kun. But she did not reply as she sat back down. Naruto sighed in relief as he went over to one of the trees, sitting against it as he pulled out his book on Fuinjutsu. Opening it up, he smiled as he began reading. The subject itself was easily one of the most interesting and fascinating studies he had started to read his clones had ever read. And for some odd reason, reading about seals relaxed him. The art of Fuinjutsu, he had read, had a total of 3 levels. The first was that of a novice. This was the lowest level of a Fuinjutsu user, and the one he himself was currently at. During this level, the most important things for an aspiring Fuinjutsu user was how to write kanji well. The importance of having perfect handwriting could not be underestimated in this art. Naruto had learned the hard way that one wrong brushstroke could have explosive results. After one was able to get perfect kanji, they were to work on increasing the speed of their strokes by creating basic seals like containment scrolls and a few others that the beginner's book gave examples of. The second level was that of a journeyman. At this level, a fuinjutsu user must work on increasing his or her repertoire of seals. This was done by people making long journeys across the world and copying all of the seals they found along the way. Hence the title journeyman. Most people never progressed past this level because they simply lacked the motivation to make long journeys simply to collect seals. At this level, fuinjutsu users would also begin modifying basic seals and working on creating some of their own. The third and final level was that of a seal master. This was the level that very few ever reached. Naruto only knew of 2 people who had reached this level before. Jiraiya of the Sannin, who wrote the very book he was reading, and Namikaze Minato, the man who sealed the kyubi inside of him. At this level, the fuinjutsu user dedicate themselves to the creation of original and highly complex seals. Naruto had read that the masters of old were so talented that they had been able to create the summoning contracts for the many summoning animal clans that ninja use today. And Naruto had read that the Ondame had been able to create a jutsu that allowed him to teleport from place to place in an instant through the use of seals. Naruto was absolutely giddy at the prospect of what seals could do once he reached the level of a master. Unlike nin and genjutsu, which was inflexible due to the fact that they had to use hand seals, sealing had no limits on what it could accomplish. Anything was possible so long as one found the correct formula of seals and brushstrokes. The only limit was the user's imagination himself. It was because of this and his interest in the subject that Naruto had taken to reading these books himself, rather than have his clones read them. For a few minutes no one spoke. However, Sasuke took some time out of his brooding to spot Naruto reading. "What are you reading, Dobe?" Sasuke asked, curiosity at what could possible interest the Dobe into reading, and scoffing at the thought of the blonde loser actually being able to read. Hearing her crush's words, Sakura looked over to see Naruto reading as well and scoffed, thinking he was trying to impress her. Naruto looked up from his book, blinking for a moment before he shrugged and went back to reading. "It's a book on fuinjutsu." Sasuke waited for Naruto to elaborate. When the blonde didn't, he scowled. "And? What do you mean and?" asked Naruto, flipping a page in his book. "It's a book on sealing, beginner's level 2. Not much more to it than that." Sasuke scoffed. "Like you could ever understand something as complicated as sealing." "Yeah. That's right. Only Sasuke-kun can understand something as complicated as that." "Stop trying to impress me, baka." Sakura berated Naruto, hoping that it would put her in Sasuke's favor. Naruto growled a bit at the insults, but took a deep breath to keep himself from attacking his soon-to-be teammates. He was already expecting something like this to happen, so it was not as hard to remain calm as it would have otherwise. Feeling calm again, he looked over at Sasuke and smirked. "Now there's no need to be jealous, team. Go back to your brooding." Sasuke scowled but didn't say anything as he went back to plotting the many ways he would kill Itachi. AKA brooding. "Naruto baka. Don't talk to Sasuke-kun like that," Sakura yelled, shaking her fists at him menacingly. Naruto grunted a bit but did not reply. He was beginning to realize that with these two, there was no way for him to win. "I guess I just have to prove I'm better than I used to be through my actions," he determined. "That's fine by me, I was always more an action kind of guy anyway." A few minutes later, there was a poof of smoke near the 3 training logs, and Kakashi appeared within. "Good morning, everyone. You're late," Sakura yelled, pointing at the men, and causing all 3 males to wince. "Sorry, I got lost on the road of life," Kakashi replied in an uncaring manner. Sakura turned red and was about to reply when Naruto beat her to it. "I know what you mean," Naruto said, putting his book away and grinning at his scarecrow-like sensei. "That damn road has so many twists and turns, it reminds me of a roller coaster." Kakashi gave Naruto a nice smile. "Well, I'm glad to see someone understands me." Both Sakura and Sasuke twitched. Kakashi ignored them as he reached into his pouch, pulling out a clock which he set on the training post in the middle. Reaching back into his pouch, he pulled out 2 bells, which he attached to his pants, and then pulled out 2 bento boxes. "Now then, I am sure you're all wondering about your test." Kakashi paused for a moment as he gave them a nice smile. "The test is simple, you have to get these 2 bells from me. Those who don't get a bell will be sent back to the academy for remedial training." This statement was accompanied by 3 different reactions. Sasuke narrowed his eyes and grit his teeth, determined to get a bell. Sakura paled a bit, her confidence wavering. Naruto, however, frowned in thought as he felt something off with that statement, like he was missing something. "But sensei, there are only 2 bells," Sakura shouted. "Thank you, Captain Obvious," Naruto mumbled so low only Kakashi could hear him. The blonde had gone home last night and thought long and hard on his crush for Sakura. Why he had it in the first place, and why he continued to chase after her when all she ever did was hit him. He had determined that he was going to do his best to get rid of his crush, and felt that the first step was to note her flaws, rather than see why he thought she was perfect. He chalked her ability to state the obvious as one of her flaws. Kakashi shrugged. "Then I guess that means at least one of you will fail. Oh. And whoever doesn't get a bell will also be tied to one of these posts and will be forced to watch as the others eat their meals in front of you." Two stomachs gurgled at that announcement, both Sakura and Sasuke now realizing why he told them not to eat. Naruto looked at the other two with a smile. "Naruto," Kakashi said with a frown beneath his mask. "I thought I told you not to eat." The other two Jonin looked at him and glared. Naruto just shrugged. "Actually, you said I suggest you don't eat," Naruto said, putting quotation marks in the air. "So I figured you weren't ordering us not to eat, and considering if I didn't eat I wouldn't have the energy to fight you, I thought it would be better if I followed my own advice." "Who is this kid?" Kakashi asked himself, narrowing his eyes. "He's absolutely nothing like the report said. This is getting ridiculous. Someone in the staff had to have messed up because there is no way he could have changed in such a short amount of time, is there? I'm going to have to talk with Hokage-sama about the blatant neglect the academy instructors have shown after the test." I suppose I did," Kakashi said, deciding to let the situation slide. "Now then, you can use kunai and shuriken, remember to come at me with the intention to kill or you won't get a bell." "But sensei, what if you get hurt?" Sakura asked in shock. Naruto snorted at thinking any of them could actually hurt a Jonin. Meanwhile Kakashi chuckled. "Trust me, I think I'm good enough to avoid getting hurt." He looked at the three of them. "Now then, get ready, set, go." The three Jonin shot off, disappearing into the grove of trees. Well, at least they know how to hide. Kakashi thought to himself, only to sweat drop as a shadow came over him. "You know, compared to the others you're a little weird," Kakashi said as he looked at the Jonin. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the man. "Something's off about this test." Kakashi raised an eyebrow, masking his surprise with interest. "Oh?" he asked. "I've never heard of a three-man squad before," Naruto said, looking at Kakashi. "A squad always has three Jonin and a Jonin sensei. Could he have figured it out?" Kakashi wondered but shook his head. "No, he knows something is suspicious, but not what." "Well, aren't you just full of surprises?" Kakashi said. "However, that's not going to help you get a bell." "I guess you're right," Naruto said with a shrug. "So, can I have a bell?" Kakashi blinked a bit. "No, you can't. But good try, I've never had someone use that approach before." "Well, it was worth a shot," Naruto said, before rushing Kakashi. He stopped when he saw the Cyclops reaching into his pouch. "A weapon?" he wondered, only to sweat drop as Kakashi pulled out a book. "Is that Icha?" asked Naruto in curiosity as he looked at the familiar book. Kakashi looked up from his book and I smiled. "Why, yes it is. Are you a fan?" Not really. But I know that Oji-san likes it. And I have a friend who read me a few parts." He blushed as he remembered Anko reading him a few of the more explicit scenes. "Your friend is good taste," Kakashi said, flipping a page of his book. "Now then, why don't you come and attack me?" He turned his attention back to his book. "Don't worry, I doubt your ineffectual attacks will even bother me." Naruto shook his head, not rising to his sensei's bait as he charged Kakashi. He reached into his pouch and pulled out several kunai, tossing them at Kakashi before he went through a few hand seals. "Kunai Cage Bunshin no Jutsu," he shouted, making the 4 kunai he threw turn into 20. Kakashi dodged a few of them and caught the others with his left hand, never taking his eyes off the book. Naruto closed the distance between the two of them, launching a jab at Kakashi's face. The Jonin blocked it with one of his hands, leaning his head back as Naruto came at him with the elbow of the arm he blocked. Attempting to close the distance even more, Naruto tried to come at the Jonin with a kick from the left. Kakashi ducked under it, and Naruto spun around and tried to give him a heel kick, but the Jonin merely swatted the attack away. Naruto was put slightly off balance but recovered quickly, channeling chakra into his limbs to increase his speed. He thought about taking his weights off, but decided against it in case he needed a trump card. The increase in speed seemed to surprise Kakashi, but not enough to actually give Naruto an opening to land a hit. However, when a few of the hits got too close for comfort, Kakashi jumped back and put his book away. "Looks like I'm not going to be able to read," He's better than I thought. Well, this is unexpected, Kakashi said in a mild tone. Looks like I'm not going to be able to read. So I guess I'm better than you thought, huh? Naruto asked with a smirk. Maybe a tad. Kakashi admitted. Don't get me wrong though, you still suck. Naruto received a tick mark but calmed down. Remember, I can't let emotions run too high. He's better than me, and by getting angry I'll be sloppy, he'll be able to defeat me that much more easily. A thought crossed Naruto's mind. Then again, he probably expects me to get angry. He grinned as a plan began to form in his mind. You won't be saying that when my fist meets your face, Naruto yelled as he charged at Kakashi. Maybe some of the reports were right after all. Kakashi thought as he swatted the blonde's fist away. When Naruto came in with his other fist, Kakashi grabbed onto it and locked the blonde's arm in place. You know, getting angry is the first step towards losing. Kakashi commented in a lazy tone. Naruto smirked. And getting close to me was the stupidest move you could make. Boom. Kakashi's eyes widened as Naruto exploded and forced the copy ninja to use a kuriwimi. He's knows Bunshine Dabakua? Kakashi questioned. I thought he only knew the Cage Bunshine, someone had to have taught him that. He didn't get time to think anymore as Naruto jumped onto the tree branch he had landed on. Naruto came at him with a kick that Kakashi ducked under. However, his eyes widened as another Naruto tried to knee him in the face. Kakashi was able to block the attack in time, but it still surprised him. Kakashi jumped off the tree, with Naruto right behind him, coming at him with a knee, punch, elbow combo that Kakashi managed to dodge. Another Naruto came at Kakashi from his blind side, attempting to steal the bells, but Kakashi heard the bells jingle when the clone Naruto got a finger on them. He grabbed onto the Naruto behind him, forcing him in front as the other Naruto launched a punch at him. There was a poof of smoke as Naruto ended up hitting his clone. When the smoke cleared, he saw that Kakashi was gone. He glanced around wearily as he looked for the one-eyed sensei. You should never let your opponent get behind you. Naruto's eyes widened as he heard Kakashi's voice behind him. Konoha Hidden Taijutsu Ogi, Senin Goroshi, Konoha's Hidden Taijutsu, 1000 Years of Death. Kakashi shoved his chakra-encased fingers up Naruto's butt, only for Naruto to explode, forcing Kakashi to jump away from the blast, though he still got cinched. Another Bushin Daibakua? Kakashi thought in surprise. Was I fighting that the whole time, or did he use Kuriwimi to replace himself? Looking around, he saw that Naruto was not in the clearing. He's a lot better than I expected. He shrugged. Well, whatever, I still have 2 more Genin to test, and even with this surprise, I doubt they'll understand the true meaning of this test. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke, going off to look for Sakura and Sasuke. Sasuke found himself seething as he watched the fight that had just gone on. The Dobi had done far better than he had thought he would. And what were those techniques? Weapons replication, solid clones, exploding clones. Where was the Dobi learning all this? I should be the one with those jutsu, not him. PST. Sasuke. The raven-haired Genin stiffened as he turned around and saw Naruto crouched down behind him. How did he get behind me? I didn't even sense him? What do you want, Dobi? Sasuke hissed, still feeling jealous of the blonde's abilities. Naruto frowned at the attitude his teammate had but shook it off. Listen, don't you think something's funny with this test? What do you mean? Asked Sasuke, frowning as anger and jealousy was replaced with curiosity. I mean, 3 Genin going after a Jonin, Naruto said as if it was obvious. A Jonin is an elite ninja, there is no way a Genin can ever hope to defeat a ninja of that caliber. I think we should work together. Sasuke's eyes widened at the suggestion. Work together? With Naruto? He scoffed. I don't need your help, loser. I can do this on my own. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Now listen here, team. This isn't some average Jonin we're facing. That man is Hokage Kakashi, an A-rank ninja who is said to have copied over 1,000 jutsu. There is no way you, I or anyone Genin can defeat him. Hell, there's no way even 3 Genin together can defeat him. But if we work together, then we at least have a shot at getting those bells. Could the Dobi be right? Sasuke asked himself, frowning a bit as he wondered if Naruto might actually be onto something. If our sensei really is that strong, then. He shook his head. What was he thinking? He was an Uchiha, an elite ninja. He could get the bells on his own. I don't need your help. Sasuke stood up and glared at his teammate. I can do this on my own. Naruto clenched his teeth as he watched his teammate leave. Damn it. Why is he so set on doing this by himself? I know he saw my fight. Surely he can't think he has any chance of winning? Shaking his head, Naruto stood up and left in search of his other teammate. Truthfully, he did not have much hope that she would be willing to work with him without Sasuke, but he wanted to at least try and get her to cooperate. Sakura stared in shock as the fight between Naruto and Kakashi finished. Who knew that Naruto could actually fight like that? What was going on? The blonde had always been an idiot, the dead last at the academy. There was no way he could be that good. But there he was using jutsu that she had never even heard of before, much less seen. Could Naruto really be that strong? Of course not. Shanaro. Inner Sakura shouted. There's no way Naruto Baka is that strong. It's obviously some kind of trick to get you to think he's strong and fall in love with him. Shanaro. Yeah, you're right. Sakura agreed with her inner self. Well, it's not gonna work. My heart belongs only to Sasuke-kun. The pinkhead stood up and left to find her crush. Maybe if she helped him get a bell she would gain his notice. And then they would start going out, and soon after that they would get married and she would have his babies. Her delusions set in place. Sakura began to carefully walk through the forest, stopping when she heard a twig snap. Sakura looked around and froze when she saw Kakashi standing a little ways away, reading his book. I don't think he saw me. Sakura thought to herself. She was about to continue when a voice spoke up behind her. PSST, Sakura. Turning around she saw Kakashi looking at her. Then he disappeared in a swirl of flower petals and Sakura saw black. She woke up a few seconds later and sat up. Huh? Where am I? Sakura's eyes widened as she remembered the last thing she saw was Kakashi, and she began to look around frantically. What happened? Where's Kakashi-sensei? Sakura. Sakura turned around at the familiar voice. Sasuke-kun. She stopped and her eyes widened as she saw Sasuke, beaten, bleeding, with his left arm missing, his leg bent at an awkward angle as he leaned against a tree. Run. Sakura, he said in a strained voice as he lifted his head up and she saw that he was missing an eye. Kun. Sakura's eyes widened and she didn't the only thing she could. Kaya, she yelled, before her eyes rolled up in the back of her head and she fainted. Kaya. Sasuke's head turned to the sound of the scream. That was Sakura. He thought to himself before shrugging, she had probably just been stupid enough to get caught by their sensei. He was not surprised by this turn of events. The girl was nothing but a useless fangirl. The raven-haired Shinonbi turned his head when he saw Kakashi, leaning against a tree with his arms crossed. Maybe I went a little too far, Kakashi said. Though, she was said to be the best at genjutsu, he mumbled at the end. Sasuke scoffed. I'm not like those two. Kakashi, I smiled. Say that after you get a bell, Sasuke. Sasuke smirked as he threw several kunai at Kakashi, who dodged to the left. Sasuke waited for a moment, expecting the trap he had set to go off. He ended up frowning when nothing seemed to happen. If you were expecting that wire trap to get me, you're going to be disappointed, Kakashi said. After having Naruto surprise him with his improved abilities, he had decided to keep his guard up with the others. Perhaps that was why he had used a genjutsu of a little higher quality than normal on Sakura? He shrugged. It was still a D-ranked one, so he could not be blamed if she was incapable of breaking it. Sasuke scowled as he rushed Kakashi, throwing a punch at the Jonin. Once again Kakashi decided not to let Sasuke do anything, grabbing the Jonin's arms and then throwing him towards a tree. Sasuke twisted around and bounced off the tree, shooting back towards Kakashi as he went through several hand seals, ending on the tiger seal. Kakashi's eyes widened. A mere Jonin can't do the jutsu. It takes too much chakra. Kaden, Gokyaku no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Jutsu. Sasuke sucked in a deep breath and blew out a fairly large fireball, sending it crashing into Kakashi. Sasuke landed on his feet as the fireball dissipated and frowned when Kakashi was nowhere to be seen. That should have at least left some ashes, so where is he? To the left? No. To the right? No. Above? Sasuke looked up to see that Kakashi was not there. Below. A voice spoke up from under Sasuke's feet. A pair of hands shot out of the ground and grabbed Sasuke's feet before pulling him down, burying him up to the head. Sasuke looked up to see Kakashi crouched down next to him with an eye smile. I'll admit you're not bad. However, I would say Naruto is about as good as you are, Sasuke sneered as Kakashi stood up. Yeah, you may stand out, but you know what they say, the nail that stands out the most, always gets nailed down the hardest or something like that. Kakashi walked off with Sasuke watching him. There's no way that loser is better than me. Sasuke thought with a sneer. I'll show him the true power of the Uchiha. He looked down at his predicament and grimaced. Just as soon as I get out of this. Kaya. Naruto stopped on a tree branch as he heard the scream, recognizing it as Sakura's voice. Damn! Did Kakashi get to her already? He took off again, increasing his pace. She should be alright, Kakashi's not allowed to kill us. Naruto soon came to the clearing where the scream originated from. Stopping for a moment as he saw Sakura lying in the middle of the clearing, twitching occasionally as she foamed at the mouth. Running up to her, Naruto kneeled down and lifted the upper half of her up and tried to shake her awake. Sakura, Sakura, Naruto said, sighing in relief when Sakura gave a groan. What? Where? Sakura asked as she saw the blur in front of her. Nice of you to join us again, Naruto joked. However, Sakura paid no attention as she remembered seeing Sasuke on his deathbed. Sasuke-kun! She screamed, shooting up and smashing her head into Naruto, who fell on his back and tried to blink the stars out of his eyes. Sasuke-kun! Where are you? Don't worry, I'm coming to save you, Sasuke-kun. Sakura stood up and ran out of the clearing in search of her precious Sasuke-kun. Oh wow, that head of hers is like hitting a brick wall. Naruto thought with a groan. Standing up he sighed. I really should expect this stuff to happen by now. Yet every time I managed to get surprised. It looked like he would be doing this on his own. But that was okay, he had a plan to beat Kakashi, it would just take a little knowledge of the man and some deception on Naruto's part. Kakashi continued walking back into the clearing, reading his book as he thought about how his team had done so far. He was honestly disappointed in them. Sakura had fallen for one of the most simple genjutsu he had when, according to her reports, she was supposed to be the best on the subject of genjutsu. Sasuke, he had to admit, was good. He had managed to set a decent trap that might have worked had he not taken the fight more seriously from the beginning, and his taijutsu form was good. But the boy was simply too arrogant, believing that he could actually go head-to-head with a Jonin. Naruto had been the surprise, using tactics and jutsu that Kakashi did not know he had possessed. His taijutsu was also decent, just a little below Sasuke's, but he also used deception, making him better than Sasuke, who simply fought head-on. Not only that, but he had tried to get his teammates to work with him. Kakashi didn't think the boy knew that the whole point of the test was to work as a team. But Naruto at least recognized that he could not fight a Jonin one-on-one with any hope of winning. As Kakashi entered the clearing, he stopped and noticed there was another person already there, standing near the training posts. It was a woman with long black hair and red eyes that held an exotic quality to them. She was wearing makeup that consisted of red lipstick and purple eyeshadow, just enough to enhance her already beautiful features. Her outfit consisted of a red mesh blouse that had one long sleeve on the left, and no sleeve on the right. Over this was a very broad material that resembled bandages and had a rose thorn pattern running along the center of them. Her hands were wrapped up in bandages and she wore a Konoha headband on her head and regular blue shinobi sandals. Kakashi could easily recognize this woman as one of his fellow Jonin, Yuhi Kurenai. Kakashi. Kurenai greeted as her red lips curved into a smile. I've been looking for you. Kakashi narrowed his eyes in thought as the beautiful red-eyed Jonin walked up to him. Kurenai is supposed to be testing her team right now, there is no way this can be her. Running through some calculations, the Cyclops determined who this really was and what was really going on. This must be Naruto using his infamous Oiroku no Jutsu I've heard so much about. Kakashi appraised the transformed Naruto as the blonde walked up to him. I have to admit, the henge is nearly flawless. However, it's only an illusion, and should only take a simple touch to dispel. He decided to go along with Naruto to see what he would do. Kurenai-san, I thought you would be with your team. I'm going to be testing them in a little while. Kurenai replied. But I wanted your advice first. Ah. Kakashi nodded his head as if that explained everything. How can I help you then? Kurenai gave him a smile. Well, I want to give my team a challenging test, but at the same time I don't want to make it impossible for them. And you want me to help? Kakashi raised an eyebrow. You do know that I'm not the best person to ask something like this. Kakashi smirked beneath his mask. Of course you would know this if you were really Kurenai, Naruto. Kakashi moved his hand up to dispel the henge, only to freeze as his hand landed on the red-eyed woman's breast. TTH, these are real. Kakashi thought, his one eye widening. But that's impossible. There's no way this can be real unless... He paled. Unless this isn't a henge but really is Kurenai. His hand subconsciously twitched, squeezing Kurenai's breast, causing her to let out a squeak. Kurenai snarled as an angry look crossed her face. Grabbing a now fearful Kakashi by the front of his shirt, she pulled him so close that Kakashi could feel her body pressing against his. It was making him both extraordinarily frightened, being so close to her now rage-filled eyes, and also extraordinarily hot, having her breasts smashed against his chest. You. Kurenai growled as Kakashi looked at her, turning from pale white to red, and back to white again as arousal and fright began to combat each other for the look on his face. "You." Kurenai's face leaned into Kakaki's, her lips near his ear. "Pervert," she whispered in a seductive voice. Kakashi's one eye widened even further, his face turned completely red, even though most of it could not be seen, and steam began pouring out of his ears. Then his eyes rolled up in the back of his head as he passed out, falling to the floor as Kurenai let him go, a trickle of blood appearing from inside his mask and began spreading across the fabric. There was a puff of smoke surrounding Kurenai, before it cleared to reveal Naruto standing there with a frown. "Wow, I didn't think that would actually work. Guess I shouldn't underestimate just how powerful this technique is against perverts." He frowned a bit as he touched his chest. It had felt really creepy and gross having Kakashi touch his chest like that in his female form. "I'm going to have to look into that, that was just..." He shuddered a bit before shaking the feeling off. Naruto shook his head as he grabbed Kakashi and began dragging him over to the training posts. A groggy Kakashi woke up to find himself leaning against the training post. Standing up, he frowned as he looked around for Kurenai, and wondering why he could not find her. "Did I dream all that?" He shook his head at that, knowing it was too real to be a dream. Nor could it have been a genjutsu, as he was pretty sure none of his possible Jonin candidates had the ability to use genjutsu to that degree. But he knew it could not have been Kurenai, especially because his man bits were still intact. He quickly checked himself, sighing in relief when they were indeed still there. If it had been Kurenai, he was sure she would have done something horrible to him. Her hatred of perverts was well known. But then, what had happened? He sighed. He would have to figure this out later. Beside him the bell rang, signifying the test had come to an end. He looked down to see his bells securely fastened to his pants. Shaking his head in disappointment, he looked up to see Naruto, Sakura and Sasuke coming out of the forest with varying emotions of disappointment and anger. "Well," Kakashi started, "I have to say I'm disappointed in you three. You all failed to retrieve a bell." "Are you sure about that, sensei?" Naruto asked, holding up two bells and jingling them. Kakashi's, Sasuke's and Sakura's eyes all widened at what they were seeing. "When did the Dobi get a bell?" Sasuke wondered, seething at the thought that the dead last had been able to do what he could not. "I don't believe Naruto Baka actually managed to get a bell from Kakashi-sensei." Sakura thought in shock. "I don't believe it. He probably stole it from Sasuke-kun." Shanaro. Inner Sakura ranted as she held a chibi Naruto by the throat, and began squeezing the life out of it. Kakashi looked down at the bells attached to his pants, watching as they went up in a puff of smoke. He must have switched the bells out with a hinged cage bunshine. But that wouldn't make sense. Henge is only an illusion jutsu, there would be no way to do that unless... Kakashi's eye widened further as he remembered his encounter with Kurenai. That was no henge. That was an honest Akami transformation. But that's not possible, is it? True transformations shouldn't be possible. Even using a thick layer of chakra to create a physical body should not be possible. The difference in mass and weight would mean he didn't just create a chakra construct and place it over himself, but actually transformed into the object he hinged into, copying both its weight and body mass. "I really need to talk to Hokage-sama about this." Regaining his composure, Kakashi looked over at his three Jonin. "Well, it seems you did get the bells after all. Congratulations, Naruto." Sasuke grit his teeth in anger as he saw Naruto smirk, while Sakura looked both shocked that Naruto got the bells, and disappointed that she had been useless. "Now, however, you need to decide who to give the bells to. After all, only two of you can pass." Naruto smirked as he tossed a bell to Sasuke and Sakura, surprising everyone. "I'll give mine to both of them. You do realize that if you do that, you'll be going back to the academy?" Kakashi tried. He has figured it out. The Jonin thought to himself. "There's no other explanation for this. An extra year won't hurt me any," Naruto said with a shrug. "No," Sasuke said, surprising the others as he tossed his bell back to Naruto. "You got the bells, not me. You deserve to pass, and my pride as an Uchiha will not let me accept this when I didn't actually get one myself. I refuse to accept charity from the Dobi." "Then I think I should be the one who goes back," said Sakura, looking rather depressed as she threw her bell to Sasuke. "All I did was fall into a genjutsu. Sasuke-kun tried to get a bell, and Naruto got both bells, so I can't accept it, even if I can't be with Sasuke-kun." "You two need to relax," Naruto said with a smirk as he tossed his bell to Sakura. "I have a way to make sure we all pass." Everyone watched as Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out a little orange book. "I made sure to get some added insurance." Naruto turned to look at a wide-eyed Kakashi and grinned. Either you pass all of us, or I'll have Sasuke show you what a Katen jutsu can do to paperback. No, not the precious, Kakashi shouted, getting on his knees as he looked at Naruto pleadingly. You don't need to worry, you all pass. Please just give me the precious. Naruto grinned as he tossed the book to Kakashi, who snatched it from the air. The three Jonin sweat dropped as Kakashi started to lovingly nuzzling the book against his cheek, mumbling about the precious and don't worry, you're safe now precious. Sensei? Naruto asked, a little uncomfortable with the awkward scene before him. You kind of freaking me out here. Kakashi coughed as he stood back up, pocketing the book and acting as if he had not just been snuggling a book as one normally would a lover. Ahem, well I guess all of you pass then. You can thank Naruto for that, since he seemed to understand that this test was about teamwork. The other two Jonin looked over at Naruto, who flashed them a grin and shrugged. Honestly, he had not really known the test was about teamwork. He had only realized that without help, he normally would have never been able to get a book. Thank Kami for perverted weaknesses. Anyway, meet me here tomorrow over at the bridge at 8 AM and we'll begin our first mission as Team 7. Kakashi gave the group a nice smile. Sakura gave a large smile as she realized that she was still going to be on a team with her Sasuke-kun. Sasuke, despite feeling put off at not having actually gotten a bell, smirked as the feeling of having passed pushed his other feelings away for the moment. Naruto grinned, excited at the prospect of telling what happened here to Anko. Right, well, I will see you all later. I have to report to Hokage-sama that we are now a team. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Hey Sasuke-kun, do you want to go out on a date with me to celebrate? Asked Sakura. No, Sasuke said as he walked away, Sakura following after him and pestering him for a date. Ugh, seriously, I just saved them from failing and they still ignore me. I didn't even get a thank you for essentially passing them. Ungrateful bastards. Naruto frowned, shaking his head before making his way to the Forest of Death. No doubt Anko would want to hear the tale of how he defeated the legendary Hitake Kakashi. Sarutobi sighed to himself as he saw that Kakashi was still not here. Why don't you all start? Kakashi will probably be several hours late anyway. Sarutobi motioned for them to begin. Shiranui Genma stepped forward. Hokage-sama, Team 1 failed. As he stepped back, Aoba stepped forward. Team 2 failed as well. They simply don't understand the principles of teamwork. On this one is Teams 3 through 6 failed as well. Go on Kurina-san, since Kakashi isn't here yet. Sarutobi gestured for her to have the spotlight. Kurenai stepped forward. Team 8 passed. Asuma went after her, taking a puff of his cigarette. Team 10 passed as well. He took a step back as a puff of smoke erupted in the room. Sorry I'm late Hokage-sama, a black cat crossed my path so I had to take the long way around, Kakashi said as he appeared from within the smoke. Several groans were heard at Kakashi's terrible excuse. Really, you would think a ninja as famous as Kakashi would, at the very least, be able to come up with more plausible excuses. Sarutobi just sighed as he shook off his annoyance. Just give me your report. Team 7 passed, Kakashi said with a shrug. For a moment there was such a complete silence that one would almost think they had walked into a grave. Not even the crickets chirped as everyone stared at the Cyclopean Jonin with wide eyes and gaping mouths. Kakashi noticed the looks he was receiving and sweat dropped. What? I'm not that bad, am I? He asked. A resounding yes rang in the room, causing Kakashi to rub the back of his head sheepishly. Sarutobi looked at Kakashi for a moment before nodding. Very well then. All of you are dismissed. One by one the Jonin began to leave in their own unique way, from Sunshine still simply walking out the door. However, Kakashi stayed where he was, snapping his book shut as soon as the other ninja left. I take it there is something you still wish to discuss, Kakashi-kun? Sarutobi asked, grabbing a pipe from within his desk. Yes sir, I wanted to talk to you about Naruto, replied Kakashi. Sarutobi nodded as he used a Katen jutsu to light his pipe, taking a few puffs. I suspected as much. He's not quite what you thought he'd be, is he? Kakashi shook his head. He's so far from what I thought he would be that I wasn't even sure that was Naruto. First he was much quieter than I had been led to believe. He seems to still have his moments of hyperactivity, but they seem to be leaning more towards smartass remarks more than anything. Second, he was a lot better than the reports said. I'd say that he was on par with Sasuke in skill, if not a tad better. Third, he was far more intelligent than he should be. I came in expecting him to be a loudmouth brat with no control over his emotions and no intelligence whatsoever, screaming about being Hokage and ramen. But not only was he able to keep his calm during our battle and managed to use a good amount of deception on me during the test. He also used several jutsu that he should not know, that I know he couldn't have learned, even from the scroll of forbidden sealing, and managed to get the bells. Sarutobi nodded as he listened to Kakashi. All of this is very true. I have to question the competence of the academy staff, Kakashi continued. It seems they let their hatred of the Kyuubi get to them and gave me false information about Naruto's abilities. Sarutobi shook his head. While that information definitely has some bias in it, none of it was actually false. At the time. Kakashi looked startled. At the time, sir? Sarutobi blew out a puff of smoke. You know of the Mizuki incident? It was not a question, but Kakashi nodded anyway. Nobody can learn such a terrible truth about themselves, one that had been kept secret from them for their whole lives and remain the same. I suspect that Naruto used his hyperactivity and general goofy attitude as a way to keep himself from falling into despair because of the loneliness he had felt his whole life, thanks to the foolishness of the village. At first it likely was more of an act than anything, but over time he had been that way for so long it simply became who he was. However, the Mizuki incident forced him to re-evaluate his life and I suspect, force him out of the mask he has forged for himself, so to speak. Kakashi's eye lit with understanding as he nodded. He knew well about metaphorical masks. After all, he was wearing a mask by emulating his long-dead friend Obito, who gave his life to save Kakashi's during the Third Great Ninja War. But if that's the case, then how did he get so strong in such a short amount of time? Asked Kakashi. Even if he had a complete 180-degree change, it would still take more than a week to learn most of those techniques. At least 2 months, even for a genius. You know the secrets of the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, Kakashi. Sarutobi commented, making the elite ninja's eyes widen. Of course, Kakashi mumbled. That makes sense. Kage Bunshins pass on the knowledge they learn to their creator when they dispel. And with Naruto's reserves. A powerful technique for learning indeed. Sarutobi nodded his head. And one I suspect, only he can use to its full potential. Kakashi nodded. Yes, with Kage Bunshin his actual potential for learning is nearly unlimited. It would only take a few days to learn what would take others weeks, months for something that would take years. He frowned for a moment as another thought crossed his mind. However, that still doesn't explain how he knew some of those jutsu. Kage Bunshin I can understand, but Kunai Kage Bunshin? Bunshin Daibakuo? Even with the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu at his disposal it would be impossible to learn those techniques on his own. Ah, Sarutobi said with a small smirk. Now here's where things get interesting. It seems that one Arkunoichi, one Mitarashi Anko has taken a shine to young Naruto. That's how he knew all those things about me. Kakashi realized, remembering Naruto's little rundown of him during their first meeting, then he paled. Oh no. With those two together. Sarutobi nodded. A most interesting pair if I do say so myself. Interesting? Kakashi questioned in a slightly incredulous tone. With Naruto's penchant for pranks, and Anko's sarcastic humor and lust for blood, those two are a walking disaster. Perhaps. Sarutobi admitted with a shrug. However, Naruto has matured quite a bit since graduating. I don't think there is anything to worry about. So you're saying I should leave them be? Asked Kakashi. Naruto is my Junon now, I don't want her, Kakashi, Sarutobi said, his voice hardening a bit. I do not want you interfering with those two. It may seem strange but I think their friendship will do each other some good. Both are outcasts with only a few friends, and both understand one another. The old Hokage paused to take a puff from his pipe. As for Anko training Naruto, the council wants you to train Sasuke, it's the whole reason you were selected for this squad. And while I do not approve of favoritism, we both know that the council will not let this go and I have no desire to listen to pointless bickering. He had already argued with the council on this subject for hours. He had of course already planned on having Kakashi be Sasuke's sensei, and Kakashi had requested Naruto, not only due to his rivalry with Sasuke, but also because Naruto was the son of Kakashi's sensei, the Onadim Hokage Namikaze Minato. However, the council wanted Kakashi to neglect Naruto's training in favor of the Uchiha. Sarutobi had fought over this subject for hours, needing to remind them that he was the Hokage, and only he could tell his Jonin what to do. However, he also knew they would bring this up again, and needed to appease them in some way. Sarutobi held up a hand, stopping Kakashi as he was about to speak. Your hands will already be fairly full, and while I am certainly not saying neglect the other two, I am telling you to focus on Sasuke, give the two some direction, help them where you can, but give Sasuke more general attention. We both know that the boy is a flight risk. Kakashi nodded at that, Having listened to the boy talk about himself and hearing his desire to kill his older brother, Itachi, the Cyclopean Jonin knew the boy would be easily seduced to betray the village if offered power. We need to keep him preoccupied until he can get comfortable and familiar with you and his teammates. Hopefully he will begin to think less about revenge and more about protecting the village. Sarutobi emptied out his pipe and put it back in his desk. But if he's a flight risk, teaching him would be dangerous. Kakashi commented. He already planned on teaching the boy some things, and if he proved to be competent, some of his more powerful jutsu. But that was only if Kakashi was sure Sasuke would not use them against his comrades, something he was not sure the young Uchiha would do or not with the boy's current state of mind. Sarutobi nodded. Yes, it is. That is why you will not teach him anything dangerous until you are sure he can handle the responsibility. Kakashi nodded. I understand, Hokage-sama. I have one more question. You wish to know about Naruto-kun's transformation, yes? Kakashi nodded. Understandable, given that his technique should in all essence be impossible, Sarutobi sighed. Unfortunately, I do not have an answer for you, though I do suspect that the Kyuubi's yokai may have something to do with his ability to transform into something down to the letter. That would make sense, Kakashi mumbled. Maybe Kyuubi's yokai enacted some kind of change in the composition of Naruto's chakra, and allowed the blonde's body to literally take on the shape of another being or object. Are there any more questions? Kakashi shook his head. Good. You are dismissed, Sarutobi said. Kakashi nodded as he left, disappearing in a puff of smoke. Sarutobi sighed as he put out his pipe, turning his attention back to his paperwork, only to see the stack had somehow doubled during his discussion. How did it get so big? Sarutobi glared at the paper, wishing fervently that he could burn it with a katen jutsu. It's mocking me. He bristled, he could practically hear it telling him that he would never defeat it. Curse you for making take up this mantle again, Minato. Ha 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 ha. Anko held onto her gut as she laughed. Oh. Oh Kami. She wheezed, trying to regain the breath she had lost from her small fit. She sat up as she got herself under control, snickering a bit as she looked at Naruto. So let me get this straight. You hensed yourself into Nai-chan and made Kakashi pass out via blood loss and took the bells in his porn? Naruto grinned, rubbing the back of his head. Yeah, pretty much. That's absolute gold gaki. Sweat Sage, I wish I was there to see that. Anko snickered again. Though, you'd better not let Nai-chan hear you used her for something like this. She's been known to genjutsu men for doing less. And believe me, her genjutsu for perverts are horrible. You're not going to tell her, are you? Naruto asked, paling at the thought. Anko tapped her chin as if thinking about it. Nah, she said with a grin. You're much too fun for me to lose. Yet. That really doesn't inspire much confidence. Naruto deadpanned. Relax Gaki, I won't rat you out, Anko said, grinning as she grabbed onto him and set him on her lap. You know I'd be so depressed without my fox plushie. Oh Anko, Naruto shouted, blushing as the scantily clad Kunoichi rubbed her cheeks against his. As Anko continued her nuzzling, she ended up rubbing against Naruto's whiskers and, much to Naruto's horror and Anko's surprise, he started purring? Did you just purr? Anko asked, blinking as she stared at him. PFT. And no, Naruto stuttered, attempting to get away from the now madly grinning woman. Not that there was anywhere for him to run in the forest of death. Kawaii. Anko squealed as she grabbed Naruto and held onto him tighter than before, suffocating the poor boy between her rather bountiful assets. It was just another day for Uzumaki Naruto. However, as Naruto began turning blue and red from embarrassment and lack of oxygen, he felt that his adventures had only just begun. Omake, perverts and pranks, Kurenai snarled as an angry look crossed her face. Grabbing a now fearful Kakashi by the front of his shirt, she pulled him so close that Kakashi could feel her body pressing against his. It was making him both extraordinarily frightened, being so close to her now rage-filled eyes, and also extraordinarily hot, having her breasts smashed against his chest. You. Kurenai growled as Kakashi looked at her, turning from pale white to red, and back to white again as arousal and fright began to combat each other for the look on his face. You. Kurenai's face leaned into Kakaki's, her lips near his ear. Pervert, she whispered in a seductive voice. Kakashi's one eye widened even further, his face turned completely red, even though most of it could not be seen, and steam began pouring out of his ears. Then his eyes rolled up in the back of his head as he passed out, falling to the floor as Kurenai let him go, a trickle blood appearing from inside his mask and began spreading across the fabric. There was a puff of smoke surrounding Kurenai, before it cleared to reveal Naruto standing there with a frown. Wow, I didn't think that would actually work. Guess I shouldn't underestimate just how powerful this technique is against perverts. He frowned a bit as he touched his chest. It had felt really creepy and gross having Kakashi touch his chest like that in his female form. I'm going to have to look into that, that was just. He shuddered a bit before shaking the feeling off. Naruto was just about to drag Kakashi over to the training posts when inspiration struck him. He looked down at Kakashi and grinned mischievously. Kakashi woke up with a groan, wondering what had hit him. He tried to move a hand up to his face, only to realize that he could not move his hand. Come to think of, none of limbs are moving. Kakashi opened his eyes and paled at what he found. He was currently tied up with great ninja wire in such a way that he could not even wiggle. But that was not the worst of it. No, what the worst part was that he was hanging over the female side of the hot springs. He also recognized several of those girls, those ones being Inuzuka Hana, Mitarashi Anko, Yuhi Kurenai and Uzuki Yugao. Even worse, all of his Icha books were hanging with him. A little ways away, the Naruto Kage Bunshin who had been left there grinned when he saw Kakashi wake up. He took out a kunai and cut the two wires, letting both Kakashi and his books fall into the water. Kakashi hit the water with a splash, coughing and sputtering as he came up. As he felt the bonds from the ninja wire loosen, he became acutely aware of the killing intent being directed at him. He paled as he looked up and saw all of the girls leering down at him. He took a quick gaze at their beautiful bodies, knowing he was already a dead man. Hey girls. Great day to go to the hot springs, eh? Yes, it was a great day, Kakashi. Kurenai replied, her eyes narrowing and her hands getting ready to do the hand seals for one of her worst genjutsu. Until you had to ruin it. Hana growled, her nails lengthening into claws. Yugao pulled out a sword from somewhere on her persons and pointed it at Kakashi's throat. You've disappointed me, senpai. And now ladies, can't we talk this out? Kakashi pleaded. Oh, we're through talking, Kurenai said. Nebun genjutsu, Chikon wasudo akumu, secret genjutsu, pervert's worst nightmare. Soon screams began to echo across Konoha as Kakashi was subject to getting chunks of his body clawed out, getting cut with Yugao's blade and being forced to have a lap dance in a gay bar by Kurenai's genjutsu. Anko grinned as she watched the fireworks, before turning back to the Icha books she had found. Oh Minashi, I love the way your cock is searing inside my pussy. Cried Ango as her lover Minashi plowed into her. I know you love it, you're my little comb slut Ango. Hey, wait a minute. Anko stopped reading as she reread the names. Yep, there was no mistaking it, that was her and Kakashi with just a small difference in the lettering. Oh. That does it. No one writes about Mitarashi Anko without her consent and gets away with it. Somewhere in Hai no Kuni, Jiraiya felt a shudder of fear run down his spine. Sinayashu. Several snakes shot out of Anko's sleeve and latched onto Kakashi's balls, causing his screams to become even louder. Several hours later, Kakashi would be found lying outside of the hospital in a heap with several thousand lacerations, claw marks running down his face, neck and chest, blackened poisoned testicles and muttering the words, "It's not real, it's just a genjutsu. Just a genjutsu. Kaden, Gokyaku no Jutsu, Fire Release, Great Fireball Jutsu, AB Rank Kaden Jutsu." The user creates fire chakra within the throat and exhales it to create a large fireball. This is a sensory jutsu normally used for distraction or wide-scale destruction. It is also used by the various hunter ninja squads of different villages in order to burn the remains of missing ninja that have betrayed the village. Konoha Hidden Taijutsu Ogi, Senin Goroshi, Konoha's Hidden Taijutsu, 1000 Years of Death, S-ranked Kinjutsu. One of the deadliest jutsu known to man. This jutsu consists of you getting behind your opponent and shoving chakra-enhanced fingers up their rectal cavity. This causes opponents to fly into the air in extreme pain in their ass, as well as untold embarrassment. Day after Jinan graduation exams, Naruto pulled out another weed, throwing it onto a growing pile beside him. He looked over at his teammates, who were both doing the same thing, then over to Kakashi, who was reading his porn. Naruto growled in frustration as he went back to pick up another weed. I'm going to kill Anko for not telling me about these D-rank missions. The blonde promised himself as he continued. When they had first gone to get a mission, Naruto had been excited at the prospect, hoping that it would have taken them to some faraway land where he would protect a princess, or storm a fortress full of evil missing ninja. But no. Here he was, pulling weeds. One of the most humiliating thing he could have imagined, and the new bane of his existence. Good job team, Kakashi said, snapping his book shut as they finished their task. Let's return to Hokage-sama and report our success. Our success? Naruto asked with a snort. I hope you're not implying that you had anything to do with the success of this mission. Naruto spoke the word mission with disdain. How anyone could call these chores missions was beyond him. Of course, Kakashi said with an eye smile. Someone had to make sure you were all working properly. Naruto grunted as he, Sasuke, and Sakura followed Kakashi back towards the Hokage tower. Tell me again, what exactly do completing these chores accomplish? Asked Naruto in a sarcastic voice as they entered the Hokage tower. Naruto, I thought you would know about this. Kakashi chided as he flipped a page of his book. These missions help you with teamwork. Naruto's eye twitch. How does pulling weeds help our teamwork? We didn't even do anything as a team for this. Shut up, Baka. I'm sick of hearing you complain, Sakura shouted, raising her fist to hit him on the head. Naruto, however, was not in the mood to get hit by his abusive teammate. He caught her wrist and glared at her. Do not hit me again, Sakura. I haven't done anything to you to deserve getting hit. He had been slowly realizing that Sakura had never been any good for him, and he was in a foul enough mood that any feelings he may still have for her were pushed away. Sakura looked shocked as Naruto let go of her wrist. It soon turned into a glare, however, as they entered the Hokage's office. Thankfully, she did not attempt to hit him again. Ah. Team 7, Sarutobi said, looking up from his paperwork with a smile. He was glad for the distraction he now had from dealing with every Kage's worst enemy. I take it your mission was successful? It would have been if it was actually a mission. Naruto grumbled to himself, but still loud enough for the others to hear. Quiet, Naruto, Baka, Sakura hissed, though she did not hit him. Do you want to get us in trouble? Sasuke was silent. He actually agreed with the Dobi. These missions were not worthy of an Uchiha. The two adults just ignored the blonde's comment. Yes, the mission was a success, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said dutifully as he continued reading his porn. He reached into his pouch and pulled out the mission scroll with the signature from the person who paid for this mission on it. Not taking his eyes off his book, Kakashi handed the scroll over to Sarutobi. Excellent, all of you shall receive your pay then. Sarutobi handed Kakashi 4 envelopes with the mission payment. Now then, you are all dismissed. The three left the Hokage tower and made their way back to Training Ground 7. When they got there, Kakashi handed them their payments. Now that we have completed a mission, I'm going to start our training, he told them. The three Genin all perked up at that. Naruto and Sasuke excited at the prospect of actually learning something. What are you going to teach us? Asked Naruto, jumping on the balls of his feet, his shinobi calm forgotten. Is it going to be some new jutsu? Or maybe some super powerful fighting style? Or perhaps it's how to calm down Naruto, Kakashi said. Realizing what he was doing, Naruto took a deep breath before he stopped bouncing. Good. Now for this training I want the three of you to stand in a circle. I'm going to blindfold you and give you a ball. Then you're going to have to toss it to your other two teammates. Kakashi explained, chuckling at the reaction he got. What the hell kind of training is that? Asked Naruto, his right eye twitching violently. That has got to be dumbest, most ass-backwards training I have ever heard of. HN, Sasuke said, nodding his head in seeming agreement. Now, this is an important training session that I went through as a Genin. Kakashi chided. Now come on. The three followed Kakashi, standing in a circle, or a triangle, since a circle was impossible with just 3 people. Kakashi tied a blindfold around each of them. He unsealed a ball from a scroll and gave it to Sasuke, before moving to stand in the middle. Okay, I want you 3 to begin, Kakashi said. Sasuke grunted as he threw the ball. Dobi, he said, getting Naruto's attention. Naruto used his enhanced senses to catch the ball before throwing it to Sakura. Sakura tried to catch the ball, but it did not manage to catch in time before it hit her chest. Ow! Naruto, Baka, watch how hard you throw, she yelled, throwing the ball back at him twice as hard. It was only thanks to his chakra-enhanced senses that he managed to catch the ball. It still stung his hands though. Ow! Damn it, Sakura! You don't need to throw the ball so hard as retaliation. Sasuke! Naruto called, lobbing the ball over to him. Sasuke was held his hands up to catch the ball. However, Kakashi decided now was the time to interfere. Catching the ball, he threw it lower than Sasuke had his hands, hitting the raven-haired boy in the stomach. What the hell, Dobi? Sasuke shouted. Once again Naruto got the ball thrown at him harder than last time. This time it was thrown too fast for the blonde to catch and he ended up getting smacked in the head. Gah! Naruto held onto his head as the ball rolled away. Damn it, team. I didn't throw it that hard. Kakashi picked up the ball and handed it to Naruto. Try again, Naruto, and this time try not to hit someone. Naruto frowned as he wondered how to throw the ball. It was obvious that neither Sakura nor Sasuke seemed to have gotten the idea of using chakra to enhance their hearing, otherwise they would have been able to catch the ball. That meant he needed to think of a way to make it easier. "Sakura, I'm gonna roll the ball to you," Naruto said as he rolled the ball to where his nose told her he was. Sakura bent down as the ball rolled to her. She missed as it hit her feet, but at least he didn't hit her. "Sasuke-kun, I'm rolling it to you," Sakura said, following Naruto's example for the moment. Kakashi said, actually impressed with the innovative way to complete the exercise. "Now this is an interesting way to do this, I never thought of completing the exercise this way." It seems Naruto is full of surprises. Kakashi let them do it this way for a while before interfering again. This time when Sasuke rolled the ball to Naruto, Kakashi picked it up and threw it, hitting the blonde in the head. "Hey! What the hell, team? You're supposed to roll it," Naruto yelled as he landed on his butt. "What are you talking about, Tobi?" Sasuke grunted. "I did roll it." Then Naruto paused for a moment as he realized what was going on. Kakashi chuckled. "It seems you've caught on. You three can take your blindfolds off, the exercise is over," Kakashi said as he picked up the ball. The three Jonin took off their blindfolds off. "Now who can tell me what the exercise was about?" he asked, looking at the three of them. For a moment no one answered. "It was an exercise on teamwork," Naruto said. "Yes." Kakashi nodded. "But there was more to it than that." A teamwork exercise on trust?" asked Sakura, a little unsure of her answer. "Close," Kakashi said. "Be more elaborate in your explanation." Sakura tried to think about it. "You wanted us to come up with a way to trust our teammates by passing along that ball. We were blindfolded because if we could see the ball it would have made the exercise pointless, since it would no longer require us to have faith in our team?" she asked tentatively. "Very good. And why did I interfere?" asked Kakashi. "Because you wanted to sow dissension among the ranks," grunted Sasuke, not wanting to be upstaged by the walking brain that was Sakura. "Excellent, well done you three." Kakashi gave them an eye smile. "Now tomorrow we'll meet here again to go on more missions." "But it's still early." whined Naruto. "Aren't we going to do more training?" Kakashi shook his head. "No, I feel you guys deserve a break." He had actually thought about teaching them some more, but he was not really sure what to teach them yet. And he had no clue what he should teach them. With Sasuke being something a loose cannon, he figured the best thing to do would be to teach teamwork, that way Sasuke would be able to ease in with the others and they could work more efficiently as a team before he taught them anything. "Yeah right," Naruto thought bitterly, his right eye twitching. "More like you're too lazy to actually truly train us." "I'll see you all tomorrow team," Kakashi said as he disappeared via Sunshin. With Kakashi gone, Sakura turned to Sasuke. "So Sasuke-kun, would you like to go on a date with me?" "No," Sasuke said, walking off. Sakura watched him go with slumped shoulders. She turned around to Naruto, wanting to make herself feel better by denying him the chance for a date. However, much to her shock, Naruto walked right past her. "I'll see you tomorrow, Sakura," he said, leaving Sakura to stand on the bridge in shock. He didn't even ask me out on a date," thought Sakura. Could it be that she had finally pushed him away? I should be happy, right? If that was the case, why did it feel like she had lost something? The moment only lasted for a few seconds before she shook her head. She didn't need that Bakai anyways. Nodding to herself, she walked off, hoping to find Sasuke-kun so she could style observe him. It was a little while later that Naruto opened the door to the Hokage's office. "Hey Oji-san, can I speak to you for a second?" he asked as he walked in. Sarutobi looked up and smiled. "Of course Naruto-kun. What can I do for you?" "Well, I was reading about elemental manipulation in a book I just got, and I was wondering how to find out about my element, since the book only mentioned it in passing," Naruto said. "Elemental affinity?" Sarutobi asked in surprise. "That's a Jonin level skill, Naruto-kun. Are you sure you're ready to learn about that?" Naruto shook his head. "It's not so much that I'm going to any kind of training for my element. I actually want to know my affinity so I know which elemental jutsu to learn. I have a few scrolls with a jutsu from each element that I got from the library, but figured it would be better to learn ones from the element I have an affinity for." "Ah." Sarutobi nodded his head as he pulled a drawer in his desk open. "That does make a lot of sense actually. Lucky for you, I happen to have some affinity paper right here." The aging Hokage pulled out a small slip of paper, handing over to Naruto. "Just channel some chakra into it to learn your affinity. If it's fire, it will burn. Lightning will crumble. Water will soak. Earth will turn to dust. And wind will cut the paper." Naruto nodded as he cut the paper. What happened shocked both of them. The entire paper was torn to shreds. So wind? Naruto said, sounding almost like a question. Yes. Interesting, it seems you have an unusual affinity for someone born in Hinokuni. And a powerful one at that. Sarutobi commented. Of course his father was also a wind type. But for the paper to just get torn to shreds like that, his affinity must be off the charts. So is that good? Asked Naruto as he looked over at the old man. It's neither good nor bad really. Sarutobi answered with a shrug. Wind is the rarest affinity here in Hinokuni. In fact I only know one person here who has that affinity. Really? Who? Asked Naruto curiously. My son, Sarutobi Asuma is a wind user. Answered Sarutobi. He's the Jonin sensei of Team 10 isn't he? Naruto remembered seeing the man pick up Shikamaru, Choji and Ino at the Jonin orientation. The Sandaime nodded in confirmation of the boy's question. Maybe when I get started on elemental training I can ask him for help? Indeed you can, I believe he trains his team at Training Ground 10. Sarutobi informed the blonde. Naruto snorted in amusement. So Team 7 trains at Training Ground 7, and Team 10 trains at Training Ground 10. I'm guessing all of the Jonin squads have the same training ground as their team number dictates. How cliché, Sarutobi chuckled. I suppose it is. Now I'll see you later, I need to get back to my paperwork. Sarutobi glared at the pile of papers as if hoping it would burn. Naruto sweat dropped. Oji-san? He said, getting the old man's attention. Why don't you just use Cage Bunshines to do your paperwork? Sarutobi blinked at him owlishly. I mean, they pass on their memories to the user after they dispel, right? So, Cage Bunshine. Sarutobi muttered. Naruto and the two Anbu currently hidden in the room, sweat dropped as Sarutobi began banging his head on the table. Stupid, 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 stupid. Damn it, that's how he completed his paperwork so fast. The Sandaime sat up and shook a fist at the picture of the fourth Hokage, which the old man could swear was grinning at him. Damn you Minato. Right. I'm just gonna leave now, Naruto said. Moving towards the door cautiously as Sarutobi cursed out the fourth with every vulgar word he knew. As soon as Naruto got to the training ground he held up his hands in the ram sign and called out his most useful jutsu. Taijutsu Cage Bunshine no Jutsu. Instead of the usual 100, Naruto created an extra 50. Already having their orders, 100 of the clones spread out and began working on their assigned tasks. Naruto turned to the extra 50 he had created as he pulled out 5 scrolls from his left kunai pouch. I want you guys to split up into groups of 10. Choose a jutsu and work on it until you run out of chakra. Yosh. The 50 blonde copies said simultaneously as 5 of them grabbed a scroll. While they went off to practice their jutsu, Naruto began his exercise routine. He was a little disappointed that he would only get to do this after his team meetings, mission and team training, knowing that it would cut into his time. Realizing this, Naruto added an extra 5 pounds to his weights again before starting. After his workout, Naruto got about to cooking dinner, unsealing some of the fish his clones had caught a few days ago. He sat down as he began to cook them over the fire pit. Don't even try it, Anko, he said suddenly, causing the person who had been sneaking up behind him to pout. How did you know it was me? Anko asked as she moved around him and sat down next to him. Naruto shrugged. I figured it would only be a matter of time before you showed up. I just kept channeling chakra to my ears and listened for someone arriving. Since you're the only one who comes here. He trailed off as his fish finished cooking. Anko pouted. It's no fun if you can hear me coming. I guess that just means you need to be stealthier, Naruto said as he took a bite of his fish. Maybe. Anko replied, snatching one of his fish from him. She ignored the glare Naruto sent her as she began to eat. So how was your first day of missions? She asked. You knew that I was going to be stuck doing those chores, Naruto said, his glare doubling in intensity as Anko grinned at him. You didn't think you would start off rescuing princesses, did you? Asked Anko, her grin increasing as she saw Naruto's look. You did, didn't you? Shut up? Naruto said with a blush. Anko grinned at him. You're gonna have to make me do that, and you're 50 years too soon for that to happen. Naruto narrowed his eyes at her, though there was no actual malice. You wanna bet? Anko just stood up with a smirk. Alright, since you're so set on this, I suppose I've got enough time to kick your ass. 2 weeks later, after breakfast, Naruto headed over to his training ground and created the usual 150 clones. With his clones working, Naruto did his physical training. He had gotten quite a bit more skilled recently, in all the spheres he had applied himself. His chakra control was a lot better. Naruto's clones had finally managed to float a leaf on each finger. After that he made them spin counterclockwise, before switching direction. When his clones had been able to split their attention so that his clones could spin leaves clockwise and then counterclockwise every other leaf, Naruto had started them on tree climbing. Right now they were able to walk 3/4 ths the way up, and run all the way to the top. Anko had decided to give him some advice by saying that he had not actually mastered this technique until his clones could fight while standing on a vertical surface for at least an hour. Both his skills Tai and Bujutsu had increased. Naruto no longer had any trouble keeping up with Anko in a fight, at least he hadn't until Anko had upped her skill, making the blonde realize she had been going easy on him the whole time. She had said that he was still at Jonin level, but if he gave it a month or two could possibly increase his skills to Chunin at the rate he was learning. His jutsu had made some decent improvement. Naruto had managed to learn 2 of the 5 jutsu he had set out to learn. The Fuuten, Date Appa, Wind Release, Great Breakthrough, a simple C-rank jutsu where the user sucked in air and blew it out to create a great force of wind that was used to knock opponents off their feet. The Fuuten, Repushu, Wind Release, Wind Gale Palm, another C-rank where the user channel wind chakra to their palms and release it in a thrust. This could be used for either increasing the speed of thrown weapons, or to knock opponents off balance. Because his clones had learned those jutsu, Naruto had delegated the 30 that finished the jutsu to work on the other ones until he had gotten them down. Despite the progress he had made in those shinobi aspects, Naruto felt that his Fuinjutsu was where he had taken his largest leap in ability. Naruto's handwriting was finally good enough to begin working on seal creation. He had already made several that he had applied to his home. Like a basic security seal on his door that could only be unlocked through the use of his chakra, and a heating seal on his shower head to create hot water for his shower. Naruto had also managed to place resistance seals on himself. The seals located on his wrists, biceps, calves, thighs, chest and stomach. The resistance seals had a total of 100 levels of resistance, each level the amount of resistance would double. So at level 1 it felt like he was wading through water, and at level 2 it would be like wading through a thick mud. Honestly, he could not really understand why the seals bothered having so many levels. Right now he was at level 1, and it was ridiculously hard just to move. Naruto had found out that he needed to constantly channel chakra into his limbs to strengthen them enough to move through his exercises. Though the blonde assumed that the idea was to slowly wean yourself off of using chakra in order to increase one's natural speed. And if this was just level 1, he did not even want to imagine what level 100 would be like. The resistance seals were all connected to a master seal that controlled the resistance seals on his body. It was located on his right bicep and connected to his resistance seals with linking seals, which looked like chains that went to the resistance seals. Naruto had also ended up using a special genjutsu seal he had learned from the intermediate book to keep it invisible so others would not notice he had them. He had also ended up created several containment seals, explosive tags and even a trap tag that released kunai when it detected a foreign chakra within a 15-foot radius of it. Finishing up his training and eating lunch, Naruto created more clones to continue working while he headed into Konoha. Making his way down one of the streets of the village, Naruto ignored the hostile glares he got as he made his way towards the Higurashi weapons store. As he entered the store, Naruto was surprised to find Tenten manning the cash register. "Hey Tenten," Naruto greeted, causing the bun-haired girl's head to snap up. "Naruto," Tenten greeted as she came around the desk and walked up to him. "Not with your team today?" Naruto asked, tilting his head to the side. "It's my day off." Tenten shrugged before looking at him pointedly. "You know you haven't visited since that first time you came in here." Naruto blinked and took a step back at the small glare she was giving him. Well, I just got enough money to buy more equipment so you have to have a reason to come to the store and visit?" Tenten asked, crossing her arms. Well, no. Of course not. It's just that," Naruto stuttered, not really sure how to deal with girls. As far as the opposite sex went, he had only dealt with Anko and Sakura, and one of them was completely psychotic, while the other liked to try and abuse him. Tenten laughed and waved a hand in front of her face. "Relax, I'm just kidding." "Oh," Naruto said lamely, not quite sure what to make of her joke. "So what are you here for?" Tenten asked. "Would you believe me if I said I was here to visit you?" Naruto asked with a grin. "Nice try," Tenten chuckled. Naruto snapped his fingers. "Oh well. I'm here for some more equipment. Standard ninja tools for a C-rank mission," Naruto said, getting down to business. "You're going on a C rank? Already?" Tenten asked in surprise. Most Shinin don't go on C-rank missions until they had at least 4 to 6 months experience. No. Naruto shook his head, wishing that he could be going on a C rank. I just figured that the amount used for one should be enough for me to practice with for now. Well, that stuff should be easy to get, Tenten said as she and Naruto went around grabbing the equipment he wanted. So I take it you have your Jonin sensei now? Tenten asked after a while. Naruto nodded. Yep. My sensei is a guy named Hokage Kakashi. Naruto looked over at Tenten as she stopped. You okay, Tenten? Kakashi, huh? She asked, looking at Naruto as he nodded. I can't believe it. She muttered. Believe what? Asked Naruto in confusion. Kakashi is the eternal rival of my sensei, Tenten said as she quoted the words eternal rival. Really? That's interesting. Who's your sensei? Naruto asked. My sensei is Guy Mito, Tenten said as she restarted gathering Naruto's equipment. He's a decent sensei if a little eccentric. She shuddered a bit at the word. He specializes in taijutsu, and he's good, I mean he's really good. He turned my teammate who is the dead last of our class into a force to be reckoned with. Taijutsu, huh? Naruto asked, looking interested. Hey, do you think I can join you and your team for a training session? Well, I don't see why not, Tenten said with a shrug as she led Naruto over to the cash register. But aren't you supposed to train with your own sensei? She rang up all of the equipment he had bought. That will come to 4,000 yen. Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out Gama-chan, his frog wallet. I would train with my sensei if he actually trained us. He scowled. So far all we've really done are teamwork exercises as he calls them. He handed her the money. I mean, we occasionally spar with each other, but he usually stops us after like 15 minutes, and he doesn't even correct any mistakes we have in our form. The man is one of the laziest jonin I've ever met. Tenten raised an eyebrow as she put the money away. What exactly are teamwork exercises? She asked. Well, I remember we've had to toss a ball to each other blindfolded. Then there was this one time he chained us together and we had to find him in the forest in order to get the key to escape. Naruto shuddered. It took us nearly an hour to find him. That's it? Tenten asked, receiving a nod. Then it sounds like your sensei is either really lazy or really stupid. She snickered a bit as Naruto muttered or both under his breath. Our team had already started on tree climbing by now. Yeah, I had to do tree climbing myself, Naruto said as he sealed up his supplies in one of his personalized ceiling scrolls. So I usually get away from my team at 3 p.m. Then you're in luck since my team usually stays out until 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., Tenten said. Cool, so I'll see you tomorrow? Naruto asked. Yeah, that sounds fine, Tenten said. We train at Training Ground 9. Just to warn you, thought one of my teammates and my sensei are weird. Naruto gave Tenten a grin. My sensei reads porn in public. I think I can handle weird. See ya, Tenten. Naruto waved goodbye as he left. Tenten waved after him, getting back to manning the cash register when he left. The next day Naruto headed over to Training Ground 9 after he finished meeting his team. When he got there he was greeted to the odd sight of a man and what could pass off as his clone hugging each other behind a sunset. Wow. Tenten meant it when she said her sensei was weird. And what the hell is with the mini-clone? Tenten. Naruto called out as he tried his best to ignore the two men hugging. Tenten and her other teammate, a boy with long brown hair, gray pupilless eyes and an off-white robe, looked over at him. Hey Naruto, Tenten said with a smile. Glad you could make it. Naruto gave the girl an amused grin. What and miss? This. He pointed over at the still hugging guys. Yeah. Tenten blushed in embarrassment at her teammate and sensei. I told you they were weird. Remind me to never doubt you again, Naruto joked. Yosh, who is this person who is joining our youthful group? What the hell? Naruto spun around and saw the clones were no longer hugging each other and were instead looking at him. Now that he got a better look at the pair, Naruto noticed their clothes in more detail. Green spandex with orange leg warmers and their headbands being used as belts. The only difference between the two was that the taller one had a Jonin flak jacket while the smaller one did not. Another thing he noticed was, Dear Kami-sama, I think those eyebrows are moving. Naruto thought as he looked at the eyebrows that were sitting just below their bowl-cut hair. Did they decide to superglue a pair of caterpillars above their eyes? Guy-sensei, this is Naruto, Tenten said in way of greeting. He asked if he could join us. Yosh. It is most youthful of you to join us as we fan our flames of youth, Guy shouted, giving Naruto the nice guy pose, complete with sparkling teeth. Yes Naruto-kun. It is always nice to see others who wish to join us as we fan our youthful flames. The guy clone shouted. Right? Naruto took a step back, slightly scared by the two shouting Shinobi. He was starting to wonder if maybe going to train with Tenten and her team was such a good idea. Tenten's mouth twitched into an amused smile as she noticed Naruto's discomfort. Naruto, these are my teammates Rock Lee. Naruto pointed to the guy clone who gave him a nice guy pose, complete with shining teeth, and did Naruto hear them ping? And this other one is Hyuga Negi. Naruto's attention was then directed to the other one. You know, your eyes look like a classmate of mine's, Naruto said as he looked at Negi. Neji raised an eyebrow. Oh? Yep. It's some dark, weird girl named Hinata. Are you related to her by any chance? Naruto asked, frowning when he noticed Negi stiffen at the name. Why don't we start training? Tenten suggested, knowing who Naruto was talking about and Neji's problems with her. Tenten, you are absolutely right, Guy shouted. Come, let us burn in the flames of our youth. Right, Naruto said before turning to Tenten. Do you use close-range weapons? He asked. Tenten smirked. I work at my parents' weapon shop. What do you think? She reached into her pouch and grabbed a scroll, unsealing a standard yet well-made katana. It may not be my specialty, but I'm still pretty good with close-ranged weapons. Naruto grinned as he took his bow staff from his back. Well then, let's see who's better with their weapon. Tenten returned his grin as she ran at him, attempting to hit him with a vertical slash from the left. Naruto spun his staff, knocking her sword away and coming in with a jab. Tenten leapt back as Naruto came at her, making quick jabs and spinning attacks with his staff. Naruto made sure to keep out of range of Tenten's sword, something the weapon-using girl noticed. On Naruto's next swing, Tenten locked her blade with his staff, keeping the bow staff pointed towards the ground as she dragged her blade across it. She came at Naruto with a slash. Ducking under the attack, Naruto brought his now free staff up and tried to hit Tenten with the end of it. Tenten spun to the side, using her sword to push the staff away before coming right in. Naruto dodged the thrust of Tenten's sword, putting his staff on the ground and using it as leverage as he attempted to kick her. Not able to bring her sword to lock, Tenten ducked under the attack and jumped back. The two eyed each other as they continued trading blows, neither one really getting the upper hand. Naruto had a reach advantage since his staff was longer. But Tenten was more skilled in her weapon, having been training with weapons since she was a child. As the two continued, Lee and Guy had stopped their own sparring to watch the pair. You're good. Naruto grunted as he blocked a series strikes. You're really good. Thanks, Tenten said with a grin as she moved back when Naruto began twirling his staff around in an offensive formation. For someone who just started 3 weeks ago, you're not bad yourself. What can I say? Naruto shot back, ducking under a swing before sidestepping another. I'm a natural. He made another offensive spin as he tried to knock Tenten's blade out of her hand. It ended up backfiring as Tenten managed to time her attack to his, knocking him off balance. Tenten went into a leg sweep, tripping Naruto and causing him to land on his back with an oof. As he got the air knocked out of him. Natural or not, Tenten said as she stood over Naruto, grinning as she pointed her blade at his throat. You've still got a long ways to go to beat me. Naruto looked at the blade currently being pointed at his throat. He tilted his head to see Tenten grinning down at him. Then he looked back to the blade. I'll win next time, he declared. I'm sure. Tenten replied as she held out a hand to help Naruto up. Naruto-san, that was a most youthful fight you had with Tenten, Guy said. Yes Naruto-kun, that was such an amazing fight, Lee cried, drying his eyes on his sleeve. Before Naruto even knew what was happening, Lee got right in his face, tears pouring out of his bug-like eyes like a waterfall. Ooh. We must have a spar to test our flames of youth against each other. I challenge you to taijutsu contest, and if I cannot defeat you, I will run 600 laps around Konoha. And if I cannot do that, I will carry several boulders on my back as I climb the Hokage monument. That's an excellent idea, Lee, Guy shouted. Way to stoke your flames of youth. I shall help you with this endeavor. If you fail, I will do 6,000 push-ups on my thumbs. Oh Guy-sensei, Lee cried as he looked at his sensei. Lee. Tears began pouring from Guy's eyes as he looked at his student. Guy-sensei. Lee Guy-sensei. Lee. As the Jonin and his student began hugging, Naruto finally got the full effects of the sunset genjutsu, complete with the sandy beach and crashing waves. Naruto looked down at the sand that had somehow appeared under his boots. Crouching down, he picked up a seashell and skipped it across the water. Holy shit, this is real, Naruto shouted, shock, surprise and more than a little fear etched onto his face. Tenten nodded. I tried dispelling it the first few times. It never works. My Byakugan can't see through it. Neji outed his eyes, somehow not able to get off the two man-hugging clones. "What the hell kind of genjutsu is this?" shouted Naruto as he continued watching what had to be the most unusual and creepiest scene ever. He couldn't help the shiver that ran down his spine. 1 week later, a week after his first meeting with Tenten's team, and things had started to get busy for the blonde. Naruto had decided to train with Team 9 every other day, leaving his clones to work on what he had assigned them that day, while he went over to Training Ground 9. It was then that Naruto had realized just how much more he had to grow in order to get stronger. Naruto would come home every night he spent with them battered and bruised, or cut up and slashed, depending on whether he fought the force of nature known as Lee, or Tenten. Both of them were only Genin, but they were so far ahead of him it was nearly laughable. He vowed on that he would train even harder to beat them. Of course he also had to deal with Anko on the other days, at least when she wasn't on missions. The snake-summoning Tokubetsu Jonin had been rather put off when she had gone into the clearing and found out that Naruto had gone off to train with another group of people. She had of course conceded that for pure taijutsu, Guy was a better teacher. Of course, that was only after she had nearly fed Naruto to her snakes for training with others. After that, Anko had decided that since Naruto was learning hand-to-hand combat from someone else, she would work on his stealth, detection and trap-setting skills, by playing extreme death tag in the Forest of Death. Naruto's fear of the place had been heightened that much more as Anko seemed to attack him with a new amount of viciousness, though whether from being put out at having Naruto with others, or just because she felt like torturing him was unknown. Of course not all things were as painful as that. Naruto's clones continued to make great progress in their work. His tree-climbing clones had finally managed to battle for a full hour without falling, which was quite the accomplishment considering they had much smaller reserves than Naruto himself, especially with the amount of clones Naruto made each day to train with. He now had them working on water walking, though progress with that was much slower than tree climbing had been. Due to not just his clones, but also gaining experience against other fighters, both his taijutsu and buchotsu had risen a notch. Being forced to fight Lee, who was blindingly fast, had made it imperative for Naruto to train his eyes in order to even see the blur the green-clad Genin left behind. As well as make more clones to help him perfect his taijutsu. It still was not good, but Naruto had deemed it enough that he had started working on another style alongside Muay Thai. And since he was with Konoha's Green Beasts, as the duo called themselves, he had begun to learn the Goken style they were practitioners of. His bujutsu was also going good. Like his taijutsu, Naruto would fight against a live opponent to help him. It turned out that Tenten was really good at not just swords for close range, but also using a staff, Nagatana, and just about any other close-range weapon. Naruto had learned to fight against a variety of different weapons and had begun experimenting with other weapons to use for himself. Naruto's fuinjutsu had also skyrocketed. While he was no master, and was not even at an intermediate level in his practical usage of fuinjutsu, he could now break down the fundamental seals in all the basic sealing arrays, turn them inside out, and understood some of the more complex seals enough for him to modify them in order to suit his needs. Naruto was currently trying to come up with several of his own seals, ones that he hoped would revolutionize sealing, though progress was much slower and more environmentally hazardous than simply copying and modifying seals. There was also his jutsu clones. They had finally finished learning the last two he had set out to learn. The Fuuten, Kamikaze Seiken, Wind Release, Fist of Divine Wind, a B-rank jutsu where Naruto focused wind to his fists and thrust them out. The jutsu caused tremendous amounts of blunt force trauma, often leaving a large Naruto-sized crater shaped like his fists in the rocks he had used to practice the jutsu. The Fuuten, Kaze no Yabe, Wind Release, Wind Sword, was a A-rank jutsu that Konoha had gotten thanks to its alliance with Suna. This jutsu created a pinpoint slashing strike, where the user had to emit wind chakra from their fingertips and materialize it into an invisible wind sword that would, depending on the power output, do anything from create cuts on an enemy's body, or slice them all the way through. This jutsu was the hardest one for Naruto to learn. He had only just got it down, and even then he still had some problems controlling the blade. He had theorized that the only reason he could even use this attack was because his affinity for wind was unnaturally high. His other jutsu was the Fuuten, Kaze Senbon, Wind Release, Wind Senbon, another B-rank jutsu where Naruto formed several dozen senbon out of wind and launched them at an enemy, turning anything into a pincushion. The amount of senbon he could create depended on his control of his wind chakra. Right now he could only make around 12 to 15 senbon. Naruto had been able to find these particular jutsu when he had managed to sneak into the Jonin section of the library. It was actually disappointingly easy to gain access to that section since they did not even post guards in the library, and the only people he needed to worry about were the custodian and the Jonin who came there. Which there was a surprisingly small amount of Jonin who seemed to go to the library, something Naruto chalked up to either laziness, arrogance, or both. Not that he was ungrateful, because the wind element was so rare in Konoha that there were very few jutsu for them, and most of the jutsu they did have were higher ranked than others, due to the fact that wind was almost a purely offensive element and very dangerous to use when untrained. Of course, Naruto was not quite satisfied with just learning a jutsu, and so, wanting to master them, he had set his clones to work on them again. This time the 50 he had created for jutsu learning would only work on them one at a time, starting with a few Uten, Daitappa, the first jutsu he had learned. However, Naruto's work was partially slowed down by his team training, which had not changed from the teamwork exercises and minimal sparring Kakashi had them do. He had started them on a few other things, but most of it was theory on battle tactics and the like, which he was already studying himself. Still, he supposed it was good for to review, and Kakashi had offered him several unique perspectives on some of the tactics the blonde had studied from the Third Great Ninja War. The only other thing he had to do with his team were the missions they went on, much like the one he was on now. This is Raven, I'm in position. Blossom, I'm ready. This is Blondie, I see the target and I'm waiting to take him out. This is Scarecrow, move in and capture the target. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura all jumped out from their hiding spots as they ran towards the target. Said target screeched and hissed as it ran, only to be intercepted by Sakura. It made a mad turn the other way, however Naruto began launching kunai at it to turn it around, directing it towards Sasuke, who used ninja wire to trap it. Naruto leaned down and picked up the now struggling cat. This is Raven, we've caught the target, Sasuke said into his headset. Confirm pink ribbon on right ear. Came Kakashi's reply. Blondie here, pink ribbon on right ear confirmed, Naruto said, looking back at the cat to see it had gotten loose from its bonds. Hey Sasuke. HN? Sasuke turned around as Naruto threw the pissed off cat at his face. Muro. The cat screeched as it began to claw at Sasuke's face. Ag. Sasuke's screams were heard all around Konoha. Several minutes later, two twitching Jonin, and one grinning Jonin were standing in the missions room with their sensei. Mission to capture pet cat Tora complete, Kakashi said, opening the cage where the demo cat had been placed in after mutilating Sasuke's face. Kakashi grinned a bit beneath his mask as he got to watch his own team suffer from the same horror he went through as a Jonin. Oh, thank you so much. Madam Shinji, a rather large woman in expensive clothing, said. She grabbed the cat before it could flee. My dear Tora-chan, how I missed you so. I was so worried about you. I don't know what I would do without you. Wow, it's no wonder that cat runs away so much. Naruto thought as he watched the woman squeeze her cat to death. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Thought Sasuke, laughing manically at the cat's plight. Serves that cat right for hurting my Sasuke-kun. Sakura thought. Cha. Stupid cat. Next time I'll make mincemeat out of ya. Inner Sakura shouted as she made several punching motions. Excellent job Team 7, Sarutobi said as the woman and her cat left. How about another mission? I have painting the fence for Kotaro-san. Walking the Inuzuka dogs. Or we could know Tora. Came a scream from outside, signifying that the cat ran away. Again. Sarutobi blinked before continuing. Of course there is always catching no. Sasuke interrupted with an angry glare, having finally lost his Uchiha cool. No more of these chores. I'm an Uchiha, and I demand you give me a mission worthy of an Uchiha. That's right, Sakura said, defending her crush. Sasuke-kun deserves a better mission. Oh boy. Kakashi thought with a sigh. This won't end well. Though I would have expected something like this from Naruto, not Sasuke. How did I get such a mixed-up team? Naruto's sweat dropped as he looked at his two teammates. He turned his attention over to his sensei, who now looked distinctly uncomfortable, though it was hard to tell with his face nearly covered. Looking over at the table, he noticed Sarutobi looking somewhere between amusement and anger. And finally Iruka, who was working the missions department, looking like he was about to blow a gasket. Treat Hokage-sama with some respect, Iruka shouted, slamming his hands on the table. You're all only newly graduated Jonin. Everyone starts out doing this work. And it takes experience before you can start taking higher ranked missions, Uchiha or not. What experience? Sasuke asked sarcastically. The most experienced mission we get is catching that thrice-stamped cat. I deserve a better mission. Sasuke Kakashi tried. Every mission to the village is important, Iruka yelled, cutting off Kakashi. You need to get over yourself and remember your duty. My what? Sasuke yelled as he shook in rage. How dare these people tell him about his duty? His duty was to kill his clan's murder. But he couldn't do that unless he was stronger. And he couldn't get stronger by running these errands. Before things could degenerate even more, Naruto decided to speak up. I sort of agree with Sasuke team. Everyone paused to look at him, causing Naruto to flush a bit. Well, not about everything. But I do think we are ready for a C-rank mission at least. We've gone on 31D ranks and have done plenty of teamwork exercises, so we know that we can work together. At least until the mission or training is over, and then we ignore each other. Well, Sakura ignores me and Sasuke just ignores everyone. However, he did not mention that part out loud. Sarutobi puffed on his pipe for a moment before looking at Kakashi. Do you believe they are ready, Kakashi? He asked. Kakashi looked over at his students in thought. Well, I'm pretty sure that Sasuke and Naruto can handle themselves outside of the village. Despite his outbursts, Sasuke is normally cool and composed, and Naruto has shown considerable maturity since coming onto this team. Sakura might be a bit of a problem, but then again, a C-rank mission has little chance of ninja confrontation. What kind of mission is it? Asked Kakashi. An escort and protection detail. You are to protect the client heading back of Nami no Kuni. Sarutobi replied. Kakashi thought about it a little more before nodding. Very well, I think we can accomplish a mission like this. Really? Asked Naruto, getting a little excited at the prospect of going outside of the village. So who are we protecting? A princess? A celebrity? Some kind of noble? Calm down, Naruto-kun. Sarutobi chuckled a bit at the boy's enthusiasm. You can send in the client now. Naruto and the others turned to the door. Almost as soon as it slid open, the stench of alcohol slammed into the blonde, who nearly gagged, forcing him to cut off the chakra he had begun to subconsciously send to his nose. Shaking his head to clear, he looked at the man who had walked in. Said man was a 40-something-year-old man with a graying hair and beard, rectangular spectacles on his eyes and a potbelly. He was wearing wooden sandals, beige shorts, and an off-white and alcohol-stained shirt and a straw hat. What the hell? It's just a bunch of snot-nosed gawkies. The man exclaimed in annoyance, taking the bottle he had in his hand and chugging down several gulps. He's certainly not what I expected. Naruto thought to himself, his left eye twitching erratically. I mean, look at him. The one with the black hair in the shape of a duck's ass looks more like Sir Broods a lot than a ninja. And that pink-haired girl looks like his little whore. A cyclops, scarecrow. And some midget. The man said after lowering the bottle. You expect me to believe these are ninja? I believe it when I see it. The man brought the bottle to his lips again. However, before the bottle even got to his mouth, a blade of wind came at him, slicing the bottle off right below the man's hand. The bottle fell to the floor and shattered, spraying the man's feet with alcohol. Gah! Naruto, you're not supposed to attack the client, Kakashi scolded in a bored tone. Though inwardly he was studying the blonde. That was a few Uten, Kaze no Yabe, wind release, wind blade. He's obviously been learning some new jutsu, and those hand seals were actually pretty fast for a Genin. Though I wonder where he got that jutsu? Attacking him? Naruto asked, tilting his head in confusion. I think you're misunderstanding. If I had actually attacked him, he would be dead. I was merely giving him a demonstration of our skills. After all, he did say he'll believe it when he sees it. Sarutobi brought a hand up to pull his hat down over his head. With all that's happened and the maturity he's shown, I sometimes forget that Naruto is still just a 12-year-old boy, albeit one who's been through more than most people even twice his age. Meanwhile, Iruka slammed his head on the table in embarrassment. Right, Tazuna stuttered a bit as he looked at the clean cut of his bottle. He threw the piece he was holding away and looked at the group. Anyways, my name is Tazuna, and I am a master bridge builder. You will escort me back home to Nami no Kuni, where I am building my next bridge. Somehow, despite his drunken stupor, Tazuna managed to straighten himself. I expect all of you to protect me, even it costs you your lives. I wonder what he means with that statement? Naruto questioned. For a C-rank mission like this, there should be no real danger other than bandits. Of course, it could just be the ramblings of a drunken old man. Right then, Kakashi said as he tried to get things back in order. Why don't we all meet at the East Gate in an hour? Naruto frowned. Why don't we wait until tomorrow? He suggested. Everyone turned to look at him. Why do you suggest tomorrow, Naruto? Kakashi asked, curious to see what his blonde student came up with. Well, first off, it's several hours past noon. If we leave now, we'll be forced to make camp before we even make it several miles from Konoha, since Tazana's a civilian and I doubt he can run or tree hop to Nami no Kuni. And second, the man is drunk as fuck. A drunk is much harder to protect than someone sober. Less reasonable too. He looked around to see everyone staring at him like he had grown a second head. "What?" he asked. "Nothing," Kakashi said quickly, covering his surprise at the reasonable suggestion. "Just a surprising suggestion is all. But I do believe you are right. So then, we'll meet tomorrow at 8 AM at the East Gate." Naruto nodded. "Sounds like a plan. Well, I think I'm gonna prepare for tomorrow. Laters." Naruto tossed a wave over his shoulder as he left, heading for his home to get packed for his first adventure outside of the village. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.